What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, most Americans, most young Americans specifically, but this can go for all age groups, most people in this country are cooked, and they don't even know it. They may, to a slight degree, understand. Most people can tell that things are not going well. There's definitely issues at hand, but very few people truly understand how cooked they are, if that's the term you want to use, the young people say. And it's very simply because we are going into next year, going into 2026, and moving forward, we are about to enter another phase of rapid inflation in the economy and in all areas. There will be deflation in certain aspects, potentially, but the government, the Federal Reserve, and many other entities are trying to manipulate the system to prevent this from happening. Wealthy people do not like deflation. They hate it. Because if deflation happens, the value of their assets and therefore their wealth decreases. That is why we live in an environment where there is consistent, constant inflation. It can't get too out of hand because then people can't buy goods, they can't buy services, but prices can never go down. That's why they make the media, wealthy people, the government, they make such a big deal about deflation. They do not want it to happen. They do not want GDP to go down. Why? It's not necessarily a bad thing. Deflation actually benefits the average person. It makes products, it makes goods, and it makes services cheaper, and it makes your money go further, and you can buy more with your dollar. It makes your dollar more valuable. But people that own assets, people that have wealth, it makes their wealth worth less. And they don't want that. They want constant appreciating wealth so they can constantly borrow against it and accumulate more wealth and perpetually grow and continue that cycle. And we are about to enter a phase in the next year, the next 12 months, potentially longer, where we are going to see, or they're trying to create rapid inflation again, just like we saw 5 years ago during the pandemic. The Fed has been starting, and they will be forced to continue to cut interest rates as more and more people are getting laid off. People are buying and spending money less and less simply because they don't have the money to spend. The Fed is going to be forced to cut interest rates. The federal government has to renew their debts. They have to refinance their debts, and they have to take out more debt to get the economy going, quote unquote. Because we run a $2 trillion deficit each and every year, we have to borrow money each and every year to keep the country going and meet all of our obligations. All of that being said, as the Fed cuts interest rates, money printing is going to occur. Money printing is simply people, businesses, governments, organizations taking out debt, which is money that they don't have, which is money that's being created out of nowhere. They're taking out debt to buy things and then saying, I'm going to pay this debt back with future money that I earn. So they are creating money that doesn't exist to buy things now and paying it back with future dollars. That is money printing. The lower the interest rates, the more money printing that can be done at higher rates. The more money printing and debt that is taken out to buy more goods and services drives up the price and the value of those goods, services, assets, products, businesses, etc. That is what is about to occur. And on top of that, you have President Trump and you have the current administration, the government wanting to give out stimulus to the everyday person, to the everyday working class person. The big thing going around now is $2,000 checks. Will that happen? I don't know. The president doesn't have the power to do that. It has to be voted in from Congress. They control the purse to the government. Will they vote it in? I don't know. He's really losing a lot of support even from his own party. So the odds of that happening, I'm not sure. But if it does, it's going to exacerbate the situation even more so. Just like in 2020 and in 2021, when stimulus went out, what did people do with that? Did they pay down their debt? No. Did they save it? No. They went out, they bought new cars, they bought new TVs, they bought a new house, they bought new shoes, they bought a bunch of plastic trinkets that they didn't need to fill up their space in their apartments, etc., etc. What did it do? It drove up the prices of all the goods. They bought PS5s, they bought Xboxes, they bought computers, they bought a new bed. Whatever it may be, it drove up the prices of everything across the market. And we are still dealing with the ramifications of that. Why? Because we haven't been getting stimulus anymore. We haven't been getting stimulus for several years now. But once the prices of all those goods go up, they're not going to come back down. Because, what did I say earlier? Deflation cannot happen. Wealthy people do not like deflation. The only way that deflation happens is if enough people stop buying whatever it is, the good or product or asset, to the point that they are forced to drop the price simply to make a sale. That rarely, if ever, happens. And if it does happen, it's a big deal. You're going to hear about it. It's going to be all over the news, and they're going to be making it seem like it's a horrible thing when it's really not a horrible thing. Not for you, not for me. For wealthy people, it is. For us, we want deflation, right? But you can benefit off of a semi-hyperinflation environment. If you have assets, if you have stocks, if you own a company, if you own precious metals, if you own real estate, if you own cryptocurrency, if you have assets already, as the stimulus occurs, wealthy people, businesses, hedge funds, governments, etc., they are also going to borrow. Your everyday working class person, they're going to borrow bad debt. They're going to go buy a car that they can't afford and don't need. They're going to go buy a house that they ultimately won't afford and will foreclose on. They're going to run up credit card debt on a bunch of crap that they don't need. Businesses will also take out debt to expand their company, to hire more people, to generate more revenue, to buy up houses, to buy up real estate, to expand their business, etc. Buy up precious metal. They're going to buy up all the assets just like they did in 2020 and 2021. And what happened? The value of wealth and the top percentage of people exponentially grew. And all of the stimulus that went to the working class people, all of the few $1,000s that went to the everyday person, it ultimately, within about 12 to 24 months, went right back into the pockets of wealthy people because it all got spent at the businesses that the wealthy people own. And it turned into revenue and profits for them, and ultimately profits for their shareholders and their investors. So that is why I'm saying most people over the next couple of years are cooked. They don't even know it. They're going to be happy when they get their few $1,000 and they go and get their stimmy checks and they go buy crap that they don't need. But ultimately, when the prices go up again across the entire economy and they do not come back down, they're going to be cooked. They're going to be living even more strained than they already are, living paycheck to paycheck, putting things on credit cards, not being able to afford stuff. And if you and I and the handful of people that have assets, have accumulated assets, have made the sacrifices to live within our means, like I talk about, saving our money and buying things that hold value, the value of that is going to go up and it will increase our wealth, just like it does the wealthy. Don't be a pleb. Don't be one of the people. If you get a stimmy check and the next year, do not be one of the people that goes out and blows it. You don't need that new pair of shoes. You don't need that new purse. You don't need that new car. Accumulate assets, build an emergency fund, and reap the benefits of the stupidity or ignorance of the most people. And while they're sitting there complaining because they are cooked, you will be benefiting. That's my game plan. That's the game plan of everybody that knows what's going on right now, and that should be your game plan moving forward. That being said, if you made it this far in the video, drop a like, drop a comment. Thank you for checking it out. Make sure to come back. We're dropping multiple videos like this each and every week. And until next time, I hope you all have a great day and stay blessed.